But what's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
Oh my gosh, definitely.
Well, I guess in terms of dating, I wish I would have known a little bit more about.
You don't like attention, you might want to reconsider living in Japan.
Hey guys, how you doing? I'm Takashi from Japan. So today I'm going to interview foreigners in Japan. What's something you wish you knew before living in Japan? Okay, let's get started. Okay, so where you from?
So I'm from Mexico. I've been in Japan for 9 years.
What's something you wish you knew before living in Japan?
Tatemae and honne. Tatemae is your public face, and honne is what you really think. Usually Japanese people use all the time tatemae, so that means that they will be really kind of kind or like very polite to you, but that doesn't mean that that's what they really think. For example, they will probably tell you like, it was great meeting you, but some people, they probably don't mean that. They are just trying to be like polite to you and just like a kind of a public face that they give you. So you need to be very aware when you talk with Japanese people and say like, are they like using tatemae or honne? Japan is a very tatemae country, which is fantastic. That's why Japan is a super safe country, because people care about like the other person. So even if they don't like what you think, they won't tell you, oh, what you're saying is absolutely bad or it's completely wrong. They know how to respect the other person's feelings. So that's why tatemae and honne are quite important to understand. And I love Japan, greatest country in the world. Moving to Japan was the best decision in my life. I've been living here for 9 years. Every time that I wake up, I say, wow, I'm very happy to live in Japan. I love Japan so much. Best country in the world. I love it with all my heart.
Thank you.
Yeah, not really. That's my honne. That's my honne. That's what I really think.
Okay, where you from?
I'm from California. I've been in Japan for about 5 months.
What's something you wish you knew before living in Japan?
I wish I would know how big of a city this is because,
Tokyo.
yeah, Tokyo. Because I swear the amount of people I see in a day is sometimes more than how many people I would see in like a month or like a year, like in California. Because you just don't see people outside walking around, and especially at night, you will not see people. But for some reason in Tokyo, or actually no, it's because people, don't really drive as much. Everyone's using the trains. Just hopping from like multiple stations, I just see so many people. And I also, low key, like I've been here for 5 months and I think I got like sick like 2 or 3 times already. And I don't get sick that easily. I think it's because I go on trains every day. I'm touching things that probably 100,000 people have touched in one day. Like, I swear, I feel like that's the reason Japanese people get all sorts of like sicknesses and stuff, because we just share so much space. Walking around, like people bump into you all the time. I was so shocked when someone bumped into me.
And they don't say sorry.
No. And they're just used to it. And now, like, when it happens to me, I just don't care. I'm just like, the streets are small. There's lots of people everywhere. You just get used to it.
Yeah, I think it's too busy to say sorry in Tokyo. Yeah, because if you say sorry and if you look back, like, you're gonna bump into someone else again.
Exactly. And also, it's just like people here, or I think it's a Tokyo thing, but everyone's just so like gloomy in the trains. And all my friends that visited this past 5 months to visit and see me, they're like, dude, like everyone in the train is just like looking on their phones and they just look so sad. And I was like, oh. And I remember saying something like that when I moved here, and then I forgot about it.
Can you introduce your background?
I'm from India. I've been in Japan from past 8 years, almost. 2 years in Tokyo, 6 years in Osaka.
So what's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
Before coming to Japan, I saw Tokyo Drift movie, Wide the Speedo. And then I started loving Japan like more. It's like so much fun and supercars and like nice girls everywhere, like party place. I was stupid, like. That was my perception from the movies. But when I came to Tokyo,
It's different.
it's like normal people living a normal life.
So, like it's not nothing paradise or something.
Yeah. Before that, I used to think like it could be a paradise. It's like more fun in your imagination than actually it is. Am I making sense right now?
Yeah. I mean, like, don't think Japan's like Disneyland or something like that.
Exactly. Don't think Japan as a Disneyland for like adult people or like anyone. It's nice and normal people living a nice and normal life in a nice and normal environment. People comparing anime from real Japan in Instagram, like pictures of anime and the view of the real like street and mountains or whatever, or the village, it's almost same because location is same. So they think that the life is also same. Right. But people in the anime are made up characters. Real life people are different from made up characters. So it's totally different. In real life, you have to work. You have to go to job in the morning. You have to come back to the house. You have to prepare your food. You have to, you cannot always have so much fun. In real life, real people go to job, work, prepare their food, eat, meet friends, and live a really normal life.
Right. And then you live in your normal life in Osaka too.
Yes, exactly. And I love my normal life.
Thank you for your time. Where from?
I'm from California. I've been in Japan for 16 years. So 37 now. Came at 21 or 20 or something like that.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan, living in Japan?
Something I wish I knew. I think anybody studying Japanese should hear this. I wish I never studied how to write kanji. It's the biggest waste of time, and if I didn't learn how to write kanji, my Japanese level would have been even better than it is now. We read it every day, right? And you can actually naturally learn how to read it just by literally seeing it every single day. But writing, nobody writes it. Can you write kanji or?
No, not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, where do you write kanji? Like on a doctor's, maybe a doctor's note or something like that? You know, like when they're filling out a form, but it's only your address.
So you need to read, but not necessarily write.
Yeah, writing's a total waste of time. You should learn how to pronounce better and speak better, basically, and listen too.
As an American comedian in Japan, what are the differences between Japanese comedy and American comedy?
One of the biggest differences is sarcasm. They have it, of course, but it's like at a much lower level. So a lot of times Americans, like the other day, my uncle came and, you know, they'll make sarcastic jokes and it just doesn't work. For instance, at a restaurant, like the waiter asked one time, "How was your meal?" And he was like, "Terrible." But he really meant it was good. But the Japanese person was like kind of freaking out. And I was like, no, that means he's just joking. He means it's good. I think if you want to make friends, it's important to make friends with Japanese people that are already interested in foreigners because they're going to be way more open to like sarcasm or just, you know, in general. You know what I mean? Like if you go to America, you want to meet Americans that are interested in Japanese people too, right? If you're Japanese.
Thank you for your time. Where from?
I'm from Jamaica, but I immigrated to Canada before moving to Tokyo.
Okay. How long have you been in Japan?
7 years and a few months.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan, living in Japan?
You know what? To be honest, I don't think there's anything, but I feel like if you're a black person specifically, right, you might not be prepared for some of the stares, right? Because you will garner a lot of attention, right, unintentionally, right? So you're walking down the street, you cannot be incognito, right? People will notice you at every turn that you make. So if you're a person that's not really, you don't like attention, you might want to reconsider living in Japan.
After 7 years, it still hasn't changed.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. There's a lot of microaggression or passive aggression I think that you might encounter being here. Some people have really, really negative experiences and some people have really, really positive experiences, right? I've been stopped by the police maybe, I think, 3 times here. Yeah, it's not a lot, right? Once I was skateboarding in Shibuya. I never knew, like, I shouldn't have been doing that on the sidewalk, so that was once.
So it's not because you're foreign or nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe because it was late at night, right? And then the second time I was riding to Mount Fuji from Tokyo, so I guess I look a little bit suspicious, right? So for me, overall, it hasn't been that bad. But the microaggression can get to you a little bit.
Thank you for your time. Where from?
Georgia in the U.S. Been in Japan on and off for a few years now. I went to school in Japan for a little bit, and I've been hopping back and forth.
Okay. So what's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
Oh my gosh, definitely walking shoes. Bring enough walking shoes. I know that you want to look cute and take really good Instagram pictures, but definitely bring better walking shoes. You walk a lot in Japan. I think people really underestimate how much you walk in Japan. You walk everywhere. One thing that's very common for Americans here in Japan is that they will consider at some point in their lives in Japan buying a car, but it's just really not as easy as in the US. Cars here are very expensive to have, and it is most of those expenses goes towards parking because there's absolutely no parking in Japan. It's really hard to find parking. If you notice on the street, there's just really no parking on the street. So
Especially in Tokyo, yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for your time. Where you from?
I'm from Mexico. I came to Japan 8 years ago.
What's something you wish you knew before living in Japan?
Before I come to Japan, I wish I knew that the countryside is really, really cheap compared with Tokyo.
And you live in the countryside right now. You don't live in Tokyo now.
Yes, I was used to live in Tokyo and spend a lot of money living here. But when I moved to Yamanashi Prefecture, which is the prefecture next to Tokyo, I started spending just the half of the money that I spent in that time.
Roughly how much do you spend living in Japanese countryside?
I'm spending maybe about $1,000, I guess. That is the half the money,
Everything.
everything, including my taxes as well.
More than 50% cheaper than Tokyo.
Exactly. And if you have a very good salary, you can have a very, very good life. If you live in the countryside, you can enjoy a lot the 4 seasons of the year. You can enjoy the flowers in the spring. You can enjoy the snow in winter. And this is something that you cannot enjoy a lot here in Tokyo.
It doesn't snow in Tokyo, yeah.
Exactly. And if you live in the countryside, you can even smell the nature. You can even look at the sky and see the big blue above you. And this is something priceless for me.
Are you gonna come back to Tokyo to live here again? Or you don't think so?
Not to live, but to hang out. I think Tokyo is the best place. So to live in the countryside and to hang out in Tokyo, I think is the best combination.
And you come here quite often as well, right? Still.
Yeah, 4 times a month because all my friends are here. All the places that I want to go and to hang out is here. So I want to come very often.
It takes an hour or something.
It's like 1 hour and a half, but you have to spend like 8,000 yen.
Thank you for your time. Where you from?
I'm from Brazil
How long have you been in Japan?
for 5 years.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
I know how to speak Japanese now, but I wish I knew more Japanese. Know Japanese is more than only speak the language. Like even if you don't speak Japanese, you can have a communication with Japanese people. Like you can show about like your hands and like with your body or something like that, in your heart also. But it's really important to know Japanese because Japanese is not only one language. Japanese is three languages. The language that you speak with your friends is one. The language that you speak with normal people is one. And the language that you speak with, like in your work is totally different. Even Japanese like struggle with it. But if you don't know how to use these three languages, almost impossible to like get close with a Japanese person, you know. So know Japanese is more than only communicate in Japanese. Know Japanese is more about how to like understand the Japanese way of think and understand the Japanese culture. Yeah, that's it. I wish I knew more Japanese. Like for Japanese people, it's really important like you respect who is up and who is down. When you don't know Japanese, you know how to respect it, you know. If you are 1 year younger or older than someone, like the way that you guys gonna communicate is totally different. If you don't know how to speak Japanese, you're gonna use the normal way. But Japanese people gonna take distance from you because you don't know how to use the correct way of express yourself.
Where you from?
I'm from America.
How long have you been in Japan?
About 5 years.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
Well, I guess in terms of dating, I think I wish I would have known a little bit more about the do's and don'ts. Japanese men are actually interested in dating foreign women, but sometimes they can feel a bit maybe intimidated by the cultural difference and the language barrier. There are people who specifically search out foreigners. Those people are usually called like gaijin hunters. A lot of times those people are really just fetishizing foreign women or Western women. I have heard from a lot of my Japanese male friends that they want to try a foreigner at least once, like try a foreigner. But there are men who do want to take a foreigner woman seriously. It is a bit difficult to find. There is kind of a unique cultural background that might add towards the ghosting culture in Japan. A lot of people avoid confrontation here. It's kind of just part of the culture. Even if you have a really great date, like I went on this first date with a guy, we were just walking around and talking for 8 hours. He told me how excited he was to see me on the next date. And the very next day, he just ghosted me. So it's a little confusing because there's a lot of the tatemae, kind of social mask that people wear, and it's hard to read whether or not that person is serious. So sometimes that can be a little bit difficult.
So you're a vegetarian.
Yeah.
What's it like being vegetarian in Japan?
It's a bit difficult, actually. I actually was vegetarian for about 10 years before moving here, and I started eating fish when I moved here, partially because not getting enough protein. Part of it was also being able to go out with people, go to places that don't serve vegetarian food, which if you go out to like izakaya or something, there's not a lot of vegetarian options except for maybe like French fries or salad, and usually the salad will have meat on it, little snacky foods. So it's easier for me personally to eat fish every once in a while, but it's definitely possible to be vegetarian here. There are a lot of restaurants that do serve vegetarian food, although many of them could be a little bit expensive. But there are a lot of Indian food restaurants, and
vegetarian food.
yes, there's a lot of vegetarian food in Indian food and Nepalese food. That was something I found very surprising when I first moved here.
Okay, thank you for your time. Where you from?
From Atlanta, Georgia.
How long have you been in Japan?
About a month.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan? Stay in Japan.
It's fun. Osaka is the best. Osaka is very progressive. Everybody's friendly here. If you need help or lost, you could just say, excuse me, and they'll help you out.
I'm filming in Osaka today. Yeah, Osaka is pretty famous for the friendliness, very welcome towards, any kind of people. Yeah.
Problems here in Japan I've noticed is the streaming people that come from the States, and that crazy. You want the views and the clout. You want to get kicked out of a country and not come back because you want clout. That doesn't make sense to me. So
Yeah, I think especially some Japanese people really get tired of it,
Oh,
like
yeah.
American streamers.
yeah, American streamers or foreigners, just foreign streamers, just not just American. It's just if you go to a different country, just be respectful. That's just doesn't take 2 seconds out your day just to be like thank you, sorry, or ask questions. There's beautiful sights here and stuff. You don't have to tear it up. It's not your place.
Thank you for your time. Where you from?
New York City,
How long have you been in Japan?
13 months.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan?
It would have been nice to know there aren't as many places to get my hair done because it is very much a niche and you have to look pretty hard to find it unless you know somebody.
So how do you do it?
I knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody. It'd be good for you to know your own products and what works best for your hair and bring as much as you think you will need for that plus 2 or 3 batches. Start looking early to see if you can find somebody who can do your hair or if you know anyone around or if in the neighborhood and then reach out to people. That's probably the best way I can tell you. When I first came here, I didn't get it done for like 6 months. So it took like 4 or 5 hours for me to go get it like washed and retwisted.
So do you think it's important to have a friend from same community, same culture when it comes to this topic?
When it comes to black hair, yes, it's very crucial. I think in general for foreigners, it is good to have some type of community in Japan. And as for, especially if you don't know the language, it is much harder to meet new people and sort of get along because for a lot of Japanese, it's difficult to gauge their level of friendliness and sort of like willingness to interact with you if you do not know their language. If they are not comfortable with English and you are not comfortable with Japanese or know Japanese very well, there's a very thick and very tall wall you're going to have to climb. I mainly hang out with mostly Japanese people. I have separate communities. One of them is like a black community that I know. Another one is Japanese people I know, and other ones are like other foreigners, foreign students. So I dabble around a bit, but I like to know that I can be flexible and have other people I can talk to. So that's been nice.
As someone who lives in Tokyo from New York City, what are the differences?
Cleanliness. First thing and foremost, cleanliness. People are much more clean and aware of like throwing trash around. That's why if you notice, there's not a lot of trash bins. If you're here, it's sort of assumed like you're gonna take your trash with you home or wait until you find a place to throw it away. So the cleanliness is just much more. It's nice. It's very nice.
What about the people?
People here, they are respectful, superficially nice, but they are sometimes cold in a way that it's sort of hard to get to know them on a deeper level. If someone collapses, someone's probably gonna stretch out and help you. In Tokyo, sometimes people won't do that. They'll sometimes just like walk past if someone's struggling. I've been walking home at nights where I've seen someone who's drunk and no one will help them. Whereas like, at least in New York City, someone will reach out to you and someone help you out like, hey, are you okay? Are you gonna get home? But you don't really see that as much here in Japan. So I feel that's something New York City has that Tokyo doesn't have.
Thank you for the where from.
I'm from the United States, North Carolina, and my mom's Japanese, my dad's American. I've been in Japan 10 years.
What's something you wish you knew before coming to Japan, living in Japan?
One of the things I wish I knew before coming to Japan was Japanese houses are really cold. I had an apartment and it was winter. My heater only had like a 4-hour setting, so it would get really cold, and I would take like a blow dryer and just put it under my sheets and blow dry my sheets so it would warm up my bed because that's how cold it would get. I did not expect Japan to not have good insulation in the homes. One other thing I wish I knew before coming to Japan was how to say you in Japanese, because you don't really say you. So I kind of went through a little bit of a struggle saying, anata means you, but you don't really say anata to everybody.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know how to just say, what do you think, or this or that. And, once you learn Japanese, you realize you can get away without saying you. But sometimes it causes a lot of confusion. Even Japanese people I see are like talking and they don't say you or I. So it's like, okay, who are we talking about? It's like, you, me? Somebody else?
There's no subject
There's no-
in the sentence. Yeah.
There's no subject in the well, you can cut out the subject. You can say like kore hoshii desu. This means like I want this, but it also could mean like he wants it. Japanese is a lot about context. So to avoid saying you just need context clues, or you could say person's name. If you don't know their name, you're screwed. You're fucked.
Okay, thank you for watching so far. How was it? That was interesting. If you have experience of living in Japan, please share your opinion. Something you wish you knew before living in Japan. Okay, anyway, thank you for watching. If you like this video, click like button. Please subscribe to my channel. If you have any question that you want me to ask people in Japan, please leave the comment too. See you next time.